I see a lot of men kind of a little bit struggling, right? People say that our generation, I'm a millennial, I'm like 31 now, but they seem to be kind of struggling a little bit for purpose, and what Jordan Peterson says, take more responsibility, etc., etc. What's your kind of view on that, on even what's happening right now in the world in general?
Yeah, I mean, I'm often resistant to make like general blanket statements, but
Mm,
I think it's safe to say that, especially I'm 29, so I'm of the same generation, and I know that I struggled uh, in not having a father in
mm,
my home, like many men of my generation. Fathers, abandoned their families, um, in not having very many healthy masculine role models to look up to, unless you were like watching sports or something, which even then it's only a component of the whole picture. I think there's been a whole generation of men raised by women, myself included,
mm.
that
Same here.
you know again kind of missed out on some of the particular nutrients that you might get from having a powerful masculine role model, having powerful masculine mentors, brothers, etc., like you might have in a healthy, again, maybe like a traditional or ancestral community where the men were connected. We watched each other how we did things. There's something that we get from that. Again, the masculine having a lot to do with enacting our purpose in the world and creating in the world and creating structure for ourselves and for others. And so, not only for our generation do I see that lacking and do I see men struggling, and I think a lot of us are the ones stepping up now as leaders in the men's workspace, but especially as I look to the generation just younger than us,
Yeah.
who are have iPads from very young, who are on social media from very young, who look at YouTube video gamers like they are their great heroes. It's like, to an even greater degree, are they looking out into the world, um, and just like observing. It's like there, and everybody too. It's like, this is something that I know as well. Like when I was growing up, like I would ride my bike as far with my gang of friends. I would ride my bike as far as I could go. We would go over here. We would jump in the lake. We'd go fishing. We're all over the place, and there wasn't this sort of like coddling or like worry about what was going to happen, or was somebody going to kidnap or whatever. And so now, valid concerns, of course, but now it's like we're so inundated with all these messages, all these fear-based messages. It's like now in most communities, the kids are always inside. They're always on technology. They're always comparing themselves. They're always viewing like whatever social media is. And so I think even more so, there is a deep disconnection from themselves, from like a sort of kind of masculine energy, a healthy masculine energy, a disconnection, which I think is tied to this, and it's very much something that I'm passionate about, which is connection to the natural world
Mm,
and nature, and the way that it has very much a lot to teach us about the masculine and the feminine, and much beyond that too. And so, these are some of my reflections around the masculine as I see it today.
mhm,
And I think, again, like over the next 10 years we will probably see this work explode. I think because a lot of this younger generation will be coming into adulthood, becoming teenagers, becoming young adults. And I know I struggled terribly trying to figure out who I was and how to become a man, etc. And I didn't have some of the things that they're having to contending to, all the things that I mentioned. So I think, I'm hopeful. I'm a bit of an optimist, but I see a lot of this younger generation struggling through that process, and it's just going to call more men like you and I to, come, stepping into a greater level of power, and extending ourselves, that we might be the mentors and role models that
mhm,
this younger generation needs, in my opinion.
mhm. As I was listening to you, I was kind of, giving a few smirks here and there, just because almost like a identical image. Like I was fortunate to have my dad around, but he was there, but not, he wasn't really present, if you know what I mean. Like and I get
Yeah.
it. Like he has had you know, I think he did the best he can with what he had at the time, all the tools available. I'm a firm believer in that. But I didn't feel like I grew up with a masculine role model, right? I've always looked at animation and cartoons and kind of, you know, trying to kind of sift through what can I actually grab or kind of try to aspire to become like, rather
Yeah.
than that, you know, deep connection with the father, which I think is being largely neglected. Again, not to generalize, but this is the the sense that I'm getting whilst I'm, you know, diving deeper and deeper into this work. And again, being raised by well-intentioned mothers with lots of love um, certainly does help to a point, but there is a space, there is a void, which isn't, if it's not being filled properly, yeah, one might struggle.